Imagine bringing in $40,000 a month from a $9 per month membership. Today, we're talking about a real world example of someone doing just that. If you've ever felt like a low cost membership can't drive serious revenue, then this episode is about to change your perspective. We're diving into the strategies behind building an affordable membership that generates consistent income and builds trust with your audience. This is the Online Course Show, where we break down the tools and strategies to help you build a successful online course business. I'm Jacques Hopkins, and after building a multi-million-dollar piano course business, I'm here to share the insights that I've learned. Let's dive in. All right, today I'm talking to Liz Wilcox. She is an email marketing expert who's built an impressive business from a $9 per month membership that now brings in over $40,000 every month. The problem with low-cost memberships like this is that often the math simply doesn't work out. You need an incredible amount of active members to make a sizable income from it. But Liz has figured out this part and designed her offer to work perfectly for the way that she wants to do things. So in our conversation, Liz breaks down exactly how her low-cost membership works, why she's anti-storytelling in emails, and how she turned an RV travel blog into a thriving email marketing business. You'll also hear why Liz believes short, relatable emails can build just as much trust and engagement as the longer, story-driven messages you might have heard about. Liz's journey is proof that simplicity can lead to incredible results. And she's going to share with you how you can take some of these principles into your own business, regardless of where you are right now. I should also mention that Liz was recently on the show Survivor, which is just so cool. I'll be honest, I totally forgot to ask her about that part of her story, like how she got on the show and how it affected her business. But she was recently on Survivor, and that is part of her story. But anyway, without further ado, here is that full conversation between myself and Liz Wilcox. Liz Wilcox, welcome to the Online Course Show.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm really excited to chat today.
I'm on the homepage of your website right now, and the headline says, "I make writing emails easy. Yep, even for you." Look, I'm not an email writer. I'm not a great copywriter. My audience will likely know this at this point. That's not my gift. How, even for me, Liz, how is that possible?
Yeah, here's the thing. Email is human to human. So we're having a conversation. If you can talk to people, you can write email. A lot of marketers will tell you to tell stories. I'm actually kind of anti-story. We're just getting right into it, aren't we? I just find, especially with email, people are super bombarded, right? And people kind of have this emotional response because if they're working a 9 to 5, they hate email, right? Oh my gosh, my boss emails me ad nauseum. And so if we can just as business owners get into the inbox, get to the point and get out, oh my gosh, people are going to love your emails. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I never thought I would be excited to open an email, but here I am. And so that's what I teach. And I know if you are a business owner, you are a creative person. And so you can write emails that stick.
So no stories. And I'm guessing that's, it sounds like you're suggesting we keep things fairly brief, right? And maybe that's the main reason, no stories. If no stories, what do we include?
Yeah. So instead of a story, I want you to give a personal update, just 2 to 3 sentences about something you've done since the last time you emailed your list. So this might be, oh, I just took my dog for a walk before I hit send. I came home and my washer was leaking or the fan broke, things that are relatable, but just personal updates, the same as if we were talking on the phone and you might just, this happened. And then you just segue into the content anyway, the same way you would on a phone conversation where you say, anyway, I'm calling because ... You'd say, anyway, what I really want to say is, and then, my new podcast episode, I'm running a sale on my online course. I'm going live on YouTube. I found this TikTok that I thought you might think is hilarious. Whatever your actual content is, just segue in after the personal update and then just get the heck out of there.
How often should we be emailing our list?
Of course, it depends, right? It depends on how often your people need you to follow up with them. I always say email has just a few purposes. Number one, show that you are invested in your people so they know, like, hey, Jacques is invested in me. Liz cares about me, right? Number two, become relatable to your audience, right? It was the same as, oh, I took my dog for a walk. My washer broke. Those are not very interesting things. As certain copywriters might say, oh, cut that out. But honestly, it's what makes us so relatable. So I say keep it in there. And then the third thing is stay top of mind. So to Jacques' question about, how often should we be emailing? Well, how often do you need to email to show you're invested, to become relatable, and to stay top of mind to your client or student? Usually it's about once a week. So if you're not up to once a week yet, it's the same as going to the gym. Just build up to that.
Always been good at this, or is there a time where you were doing it wrong?
Oh, no one's ever asked me that. I think I've always just been good at it. Is that is that weird to say? I don't know. I'm just going to own it. I think I've always been good at email marketing because in my personal life, I was kind of an awkward kid and I had to learn these things. I had to learn how to make friends and learn how to talk to people, how to become relatable to people, how to stay top of mind to the people that I wanted in my life. And so when I went to email marketing, those things just sort of came naturally to me. I love connecting with people. I do not understand those memes where it's like, oh, I hate people today or I can't people today. I can always people. I love people so much. I've always wanted to be around folks. I guess I'm an introvert. I guess I'm an extrovert. Definitely not an introvert. Never have been. The clothes will tell you that. But and so I think but I was an awkward kid. So I had to kind of learn how to navigate social systems, so to speak. And so when I went to email, I just saw what people were writing and I said, oh, I think I could put my spin on it. Oh, I don't like reading long emails. I doubt other people do either. What if I just got to the point the way most people just want you to get to the point? Yeah.
My motivation for asking that question was to kind of dive into the backstory a little bit. What, like, you teach email marketing now? I assume you didn't start with email marketing about email marketing. Like, how did you? When did you first get into having to send emails to people?
Yeah, so I started as an RV travel blogger and I got online. The whole thing was about making money. I didn't start a travel blog because I was traveling and I just loved it and I just wanted to share with the people. A lot of bloggers will start because they're sharing their passion. No, I wanted to make money so I could start traveling in my RV. So I knew going into the blogging thing that I wanted to make money. And so I started, searching online, finding shows like this one, and everybody and their mother said, oh, I wish I would have taken my email list seriously. You get on social media, you do this, you do that, all to get people on your email list so you can sell them directly. And so mama didn't raise no fool. I'm nothing if not an efficient person. And so I said, okay, the day I launched my blog, I launched my email list as well. I said, hey, here's my blog. But where you're really going to get updates is my email list, because people had told me, well, start a list so you can send them to your blog. It's a direct line. It's the only thing you own. And I guess I'm also good at taking advice. So I took that advice and I started the email list. I started emailing the same way as I would be posting on Facebook. Hey guys, I got a new blog post up. I'm so excited about it. I wrote it because of this reason, or, it took me 3 hours because I live in the woods and I have a toddler who doesn't care about the blog. Check it out. Hope you check it out. And of course, I'm sure if I looked back at those old emails, I would critique like crazy. But overall, they started to connect with my ideal audience. I started growing the list. And how I knew I was really good at email marketing was I finally did the thing Jacques been screaming at us about. I finally launched my first online course. It was about 3.5 years into business and my email list. And I did the pre-launch thing. hey guys, I'm thinking of creating this type of resource. It was an RV maintenance course. And I had 141 people click to say, yes, Liz, that's what I want. That's what I'm interested in. Go for it. And for the next few months, I would just update them. Hey, today we're working on this content. Hey, here are my modules. What do you think is missing? Which one are you most excited about? Very typical pre-launch strategy. And then I open the cart again, typical Monday through Friday, open, close cart. On Friday, when we closed the cart, I had made 141 sales. So if you're not good at math, that's 100% conversion rate. And word got around. I wasn't a copywriter. I wasn't a digital marketer. I was just some lady trying to make money in the RV space. And word got around to copywriters, to friends that were kind of more in this industry I'm in right now. And everyone was asking me, how did you do that? And I said, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Get a wait list and sell them? They were like, yeah, but it doesn't actually work like that. I said, well, actually, maybe it does. And that's when I knew I needed to sell that business. I really knew something that most people didn't. And now I'm talking to Jacques on the online course show.
Liz, I have so many questions. That is incredible. So when you say you had 100% conversion rate on that first course, 141 people on the wait list, 141 sales, like literally everybody on the wait list bought, or some of them bought and then you had sales elsewhere happen? Which one is it?
I think it was the latter. I can't remember because this was like 4 or 5 years ago, but it was very close to 100% of the people on the wait list. And then I believe I picked up some scragglers along the way.
I feel like not even 100% of our emails end up in somebody's inbox, right? Like that's incredible. I mean, let me ask you about that. How do we ensure how do we ensure our emails are most likely to get actually delivered to somebody's inbox?
Yeah. Well, number one, there are requirements in place by Google, Yahoo, Microsoft. I call them the internet gods, and whatever smaller providers are out there that require you to do something. And, I know you're driving, you're doing the dishes or something. So you don't have to memorize this. Just Google email requirements. It'll pop right up called DKIM, DMARC, and SPF. And basically that just gives you a driver's license to send emails, right? Back in the day, we used to drive cars all over the road. The government stepped in when there were too many accidents and said, hey, you need a license. That's what the internet gods are doing nowadays. They're saying, hey, there's too many emails, too many spammers. Let's make sure you are who you say you are when you hit send. So that's the very first thing to do. It's a kind of a technical thing. If it makes your brain hurt, there are so many service providers out there that charge, honestly, almost nothing to set it up for you. So go ahead and get that set up. That will help you get into the inbox, like technically. Now, getting people to open to keep you in the inbox, you definitely want to focus more on the from line, right? A lot of people focus on subject lines. I want you to focus on the from line. Oh my gosh, Liz Wilcox just sent me an email. I don't even have to look at the subject line. I'm going to open it. And the more people you can get like that on your list, the more when Jacques goes to join your email list, you're just going to land in his inbox. And you can do that just by staying consistent. We already said all these things. Staying consistent, staying top of mind, becoming relatable to your audience, and showing that you are invested.
That you didn't just succeed with email marketing through email marketing. Like you started with this RV thing. That's one of the things I'm proud of is I haven't only, sold courses on courses. I have a background with my piano course being successful first. So with the RV thing, the first launch of that course was very, very successful. I'm curious how you grew that audience to even have 141 people raise their hand. You mentioned a blog and an email list, but how did people find it to begin with? Was it just through searching and finding the blog?
Yeah, it's the same thing that I'm doing right now. I'm always down with OPP, other people's platforms. So I do a lot of podcast guesting. Back in the day with the travel blog, it was guest blogging, because I was a blogger. So people who read blogs, they'll read other blogs, right? And so I did a lot of collaborations. In fact, I launched my own digital summit that became its own business with partners. And this was before digital summits were really, really big. And that grew the list immensely because, our first one had 1,000 people. The last time we ran it, it had over 10,000 people. And so that was growing the list. Of course, SEO. I was a blogger, so I paid attention to that. Pinterest was great back in the day for me. And then, of course, word of mouth, right? I was always asking my email list, hey, if you know somebody else who's RVing and likes this kind of sarcastic, ridiculous, mid-20s lady, have them check it out. And so I grew the list that way, but it was very intentional. Anytime I got online, well, number one, I didn't have a lot of time. I was married at the time. My then husband had a lot of work to do. He worked for the military, so he was gone a lot. My toddler, she didn't really care, right? And so I had to work in the margins of life. So anytime I got online, it was to build the audience.
You want to hear something funny?
Yes.
I've done this podcast for 7 years, and the way we get guests, there's a variety of ways. A lot of times it's connections, like you and I got connected through somebody else that I had on the podcast. But I also like to have people on in kind of niches that I'm interested in, like having courses about things that I'm interested in. For example, in the past year, I've taken up tennis. We had a very successful online course creator in the tennis niche on a few months ago. That's one of the things that excites me about this niche and or this podcast. And one thing that I have on my to-do list right now is to get somebody on the podcast with some sort of RV course, because we actually just purchased our RV last week, first time. I'm new at this, but next in the spring, we're going to take our kids out of school, homeschool them for a semester, and go on like a 5-month family RV trip. And indirectly, I didn't even realize this was going to happen. I can cross that off. You have launched an RV
Ta-da!
course. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's so funny. So the course, and I think this is another little selling point, the name of your course, right? So the name of my course was called Fix It Yourself. And it was all about how to fix your RV for yourself. So it was very self-explanatory, especially in the RV space. You got to think the majority of my audience were men in their 60s. This was pre-COVID, so pre most, boomers, etc., knowing how the internet works, like sales on the internet works, right? Some of them at that time were still skeptical of Amazon.com, right? This was before Prime really blew up. And so my number one objection when selling the course was, I don't know what an online course is. And so part of my pre-launch was telling them, hey, when you buy, this is what's going to happen. Also naming it something very obvious, not the, RV maintenance, da, 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 da. I don't even know what else you would name it. I said, this is called Fix It Yourself. It is a course so that you can fix your rig yourself. It's going to save you thousands and, probably tens of thousands over the course of the lifetime of the rig. And naming it as such and really going hard in the, this is what the online course means really, really helped succeed. And I also think that's why I had such an incredible conversion rate, because I was spending time in the inbox before the course even launched, talking to people. Always at every single email I sent was, what questions do you have about this? I'm making this for you. I've been emailing you for 3 years. I know this is your number one problem when you're out on the road trying to find somebody to do simple maintenance and small repairs on your rig. What questions do you have about that and about the course? Another objection I had was, well, I'm out in the RV, like I might not have internet when I need to open up the course. So that was something that I knew when I launched the course. These videos must be downloadable. They must have lifetime access to this, because it does them no good to purchase and then be out in the woods and not have access to the course.
Amazing. Um, I would love to spend the rest of our time together talking about RV tips and tricks, but I don't know that the audience necessarily wants to hear that. We're very excited about our trip. You mentioned when I asked you about growing the audience, you mentioned specifically OPP, other people's platforms. I've also heard it called BOPA, borrowing other people's audiences. You mentioned that for the RV thing as well as what you're doing now and how important that is for growing an audience for you. Do you have any suggestions, tips for getting people to say yes to come in front of their audience and on their platform?
Yeah. So, and this is very important. Please listen. You have to network across. Do not network up, especially the first few years of your business. You know, if you've got this RV course, right? Well, let's stick with that. And you're trying to get Camping World's attention. Camping World is the largest RV dealership. But you're just in the first few years, like they're not going to notice you, right? That's way too far up. But if you can network across, if you can find people that are, in a similar position as you, that are complementary to what you do, adjacent even, that's going to help you sort of link arms and do things together. For example, my first product was a book it was like RV funny stories. It was called Tales from the Black Tank. The black tank is where your sewage goes. Okay. Yeah. Jacques laughing. And it was just a collection of funny stories about RVing. And I didn't have time to write the book. I also knew I needed to network. I wanted to write the book to make money. And I realized that if I could network with people and I write a chapter, you write a chapter, he writes a chapter, she writes a chapter, then we've all, this is a collaborative effort. And I'm showing up as the event organizer, so to speak, and that's going to make me appear a lot larger. And so I just posted in a Facebook group, hey, this is my idea. If you're looking to grow your blog, so am I, da 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 da. And I ended up getting 13 people. And there was one person in particular that did have a larger blog, but was seeing that this was going to be like a real thing. And they contributed their chapter and they really helped with the success of it too, because they were promoting. So making sure, don't try to network up. Number one, that's going to give you anxiety. Like, oh my gosh, are they going to say yes? They're so big in my niche, whatever. Just try to network across. Again, finding someone or people that are adjacent to what you do, complementary, in the same position, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher, that you can do stuff with. Link arms, appear bigger so you can both get to the next step together.
You try to put a bow on this previous business and move on to your current business. You mentioned selling it. Could you tell me, how you went about selling an online business like this, and if there's anything you would do differently trying to sell it today?
Yeah, y'all, it's not that complicated. I would do it the exact same way. I just posted on Facebook and wrote my email list. Hey, I realize I'm meant for something else, something different. I want to sell this. I want to keep the integrity of it. I'd love for someone who loves this space to get in on it. And actually, one of my email subscribers bought the blog. It's still in existence almost 5 years later after the sale.
How much to charge for it?
So I wanted $25,000 for it. And I came to the agreement with the sellers to take 15 upfront. And then they gave me 50% of all sales for a year. And I ended up making over $30,000 from the sale.
Hey there, Jacques, jumping in with a quick message. If you're enjoying this episode and feel inspired to build your own successful course or membership, I'd like to invite you to my free workshop. It's a 35-minute training that walks you through the formula for a profitable online course business. In this workshop, I'll share how to attract students, craft an irresistible offer, whether that's a course, membership, or other sort of digital product, and set up a system that actually converts. So if you're ready to start building or scaling your business, head over to oc.show/workshop to sign up. Can't wait to see you there. All right, back to the interview. So tell me about your business today. What do you do? Who do you help? We've hit on some of that a little bit so far, but just tell me more about the current business.
Yeah, so I now teach email marketing and I love working with people who aren't the typical B2B to B2B. I started as, talking to audiences as a content creator, right? So I love working with content creators, online service providers, small business owners that are online, just helping them with email marketing, helping them get it, quote unquote. I know email feels like this knot you're never going to untangle, but it's actually pretty simple. And the way my business works now, how I make money is the majority of my income actually comes from a very simple $9 membership where I write weekly templates. I send them out to my members and they sort of copy paste, zhuzh it up, and send it out to their list. I also have an online course on launching. I've got some workshops. But my main source of income and my pride and joy is my email marketing membership for $9 a month.
How many people on your email list?
I don't know. Let's look. Can we do some clicking? Sorry, folks. We're gonna
No
click and
problem.
we're going to look. As of today, I have 12,593 people on my email list.
And how many people in your membership?
In the membership right now, I have 3,769.
So about 1/4 of your entire email list has converted into your paid membership.
That's correct. And I actually, this is a little bit, it's been slow this year. I actually haven't been launching the way that I typically launch this year. I kind of took the year to just maintain. I needed a break. But the monthly has grown. And I'm feeling pretty good about Black Friday coming up. I'm hoping by the end of this year, so we're recording this November 2024. I'm hoping by the end of this year to have over 5,000 because I'm doing a big push for Black Friday.
What are you pushing? So this is a low ticket membership and you said $9 a month. So for example, with this Black Friday promo, what are they going to be able to get that they wouldn't be, that I couldn't get right now if I signed up through your website?
Yeah, so this is pretty major in the success of my membership. So what I do a few times a year usually is launch something called the annual pass, and you join the membership for a year and you get all my other products for free. So it's a way to, within the membership, reduce churn, get a lot of cash flow, and also something entrepreneurs don't talk about a lot, it keeps me accountable, right? To keep the membership going for an entire year because I now have people on a yearly plan.
It's $9 a month. So the big thing they get in the promotions is paying for the annual and then they get some bonuses. But in general, it's $9 a month, which is, it's very low ticket, right? You've got to have some
Very.
serious numbers to make any sort of money from this, and you have that. Why did you go this route versus maybe a higher ticket offer as your main offer?
Two reasons. Number one, I love working with beginners. And number two, I love low responsibility. So let's talk about that first one. I really do like beginners. A lot of digital marketers, you kind of have to jump through some hoops in order to work with them, right? Oh, you have to be already making six figures, or you have to, have this amount of people on your list, et cetera. But I really like working with the people that feel lost, the people that just started, or maybe they're just a few years in and they say, I believe you, Liz. I believe email marketing works, but I just can't afford most of the email marketing stuff that's out there. I can't afford a one-on-one or a big old course on email because usually those things are like, $1,000 to $5,000. I like working with just, doing the building blocks. And also, I used to be that person, right? Y'all, I grew up so poor. I've been supporting my mother financially since I was 16 years old. I know what it's like to be like, oh my gosh, $1,000. The way they write it in their copy, just a thousand, that's a lot of money to me. And so I really wanted something that reduces that sort of purchase anxiety that says, hey, give it a shot. If you don't like it, and that's another reason I love the membership. Like, if you don't like it, if it's not for you, if you're not ready yet, if you get in and you say, oh, wait, I got to do a couple more things, you can cancel anytime. And it was, it really was only or just $9, right? It allows me to serve the maximum amount of people. And if you can't see me right now, like, I'm smiling so big because I really love people. And the second part of that was the low responsibility. I mentioned supporting my mom. I'm now a single mother. My sister works for me full time. When I turn my computer off, I have a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of weight on my shoulders, and there always has been. And when I was charging high ticket, I was doing service providing, right? I was writing people's emails for them. My packages were $5,000 to $10,000. That was great. Except then I had to, do $5,000 to $10,000 worth of work, which is a lot, right? Especially when you're trying to build a reputation or maintain your reputation. I don't know about you, but I like to, I believe in excellence, right? If you're paying me that much, I want to provide you with something excellent. But that was a lot of responsibility. So I thought, $9 working with beginners. Yeah, I can get them, step 1, step 2, step 3. That seems pretty simple to me. I've now built 3 businesses, so I've gone through those steps a lot. Surely I can do that. And for $9, if somebody emails me at 4:55 asking a question, you know what? I'm actually about to turn my computer off. I'll answer that in the morning.
Were you ever concerned that the math wouldn't work out though? Because like I said, you've got to have a lot of people sign up at $9 to make any substantial income.
No. That's so funny to me. If you're a business owner, you need volume no matter what. And for me, I looked at, I don't tend to look within my own industry. I look at other industries. So I was thinking about, Netflix, Uber, they needed volume. I just need a few thousand people. Like, that's really, in the grand scheme, not actually a lot. I don't need 8, 9 figures. I'm just a lady that's trying to support her family. So maybe I just need, and my number at the time was 1,000 people. 1,000 people times 9, that's $9,000 a month. Holy crap. My rent is only $1,700. I could really do something with that. Right. And I gave myself, and this is maybe, a sticking point for a lot of entrepreneurs. I knew I didn't need the money right now. I was doing, the service providing thing. So I was willing to give myself 2 years in order to get those 1,000 people. And so as far as like, oh, was I ever worried? Like, no, because I'm willing to be patient and I'm willing to actually find the actual number that I need in order to be successful.
Let me just try to clarify my points a little bit. I think some people would argue, let's say the goal is $9,000 per month. I think some people would argue that it would be harder to get 1,000 people paying you $9 a month than it would be to get 10 people to pay you $900 a month.
LOL.
Do you agree?
I find that I wholeheartedly disagree. I think that's such a weird thing that people say. I have found it to be the opposite, but maybe that is just Liz, right? Maybe that's just me. So I really recommend to entrepreneurs out there, like, experiment. Which one actually is easier for you? For me, I know that I can attract a large amount of people. I also know that I have a background in education. I have a master's degree in leadership. I can lead a lot of people. I am meant to lead a lot of people. That is my sole desire, is to help a ton of people. So of course it comes easily to me to, send out my very first email for the membership, sent it out to 800 people. The subject line, I just asked. The subject line was, can I have $9? And want to know what? That was the easiest sell I've ever made in my life. I sold something like, I think 30 in the first 24 hours. Now we're up to almost 4,000. That email goes out to every single person that joins my list. I find it really easy to sell $9 at a time.
Do you have some sort of tripwire when people join your list?
Yes, and it is the $9 membership. It's like, "Hey, this is my main offer. You know, get it now." It's not a typical tripwire where it has a discount or anything. $9. I'll say it. It's cheap. That is a cheap offer. I'm not discounting it. "Hey, just so you know, up front, this is my offer. You should join now, but, if not, no big deal." Dot, 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 because I'm gonna be talking about it for the rest of my life.
What platform are you using for your membership?
So I actually just use a WordPress site. And I use a Lifter LMS. It's just a plugin. It's pretty cheap. Y'all, for $9, I have to keep my business really lean. So that's another thing if you're
Whoa,
thinking
whoa,
of a
whoa,
low.
hold on. But 9 times 4,000 is not a small number. Why do you have to keep it lean?
Well, I did at first, right? Now I can spend more money, and I do. I have someone that manages the WordPress site, updates and uploads the content. But that I only did about 12 months ago, and um, at like 3,000 members. So when I started, y'all, you can always just keep it simpler. The membership just lived on a Google Drive, and every single week I just sent you a new Google link and was like, "Hey, here's the template of the week. Here's the template of the week. Here's the drive where they all live." In the first year, after it was like a year and like 5 days, we hit 1,000 members, and I thought, kind of like to Jacques' point, whoa, whoa, whoa. I was like, wait, I'm actually making money. I could probably spend some to make this a better user experience. And so I paid someone, actually, I got a great deal, $500 to put everything on my Word press site on lizwilcox.com. And that worked for about 2 years. And then I moved it to its own site, emailmarketingmembership.com, and that's where it lives now.
Is there a place for your members to interact with each other? Is there a community element to it?
Yeah. So after a year, when I had 1,000 people, I said, oh, they should start interacting with each other. So we do have a Facebook group, the email sound booth, and that's where people interact. We also do a once a month Q&A. And that is honestly my favorite part of the membership. I know I've said it, but I really do love helping people, and email changed my life. Like, I'm sitting here or standing here in my dream house, in my dream neighborhood, on my dream street. That would not have been possible if I didn't understand how email marketing worked. And so I love my Q&A because that's where I do the one-on-one, right? Where I can offer more. I can, sit with you for 5-10 minutes and we can talk out an issue. And that's my favorite thing.
How are you executing the Q&A with 4,000 members? Are they on the screen as well? Are they in the chat? How does it work?
They're on the screen. I love seeing everyone's faces. I really love getting to know people. And again, like, I have a background in education, so that sort of thing doesn't intimidate me at all. It makes me feel like I'm at home, right? Like, okay, now we're doing something. We're in the classroom, so to speak. Nowadays, with 4,000 people, we tend to get 100 to about 250 people live. And that is something that we've had to navigate this year. How do we make sure everyone gets what they need? So the Q&A is about 90 minutes long. And I ask people to, come with your question, ask your question directly, and I will answer, or I will ask the clarifying questions. So instead of just, oh, I'm here, I'm there, and then you kind of meander towards a question, you have to ask your question directly, and then it's my turn to ask clarifying questions to get where we need to go.
And you're doing just through Zoom, I'm guessing?
Through Zoom, yep. I pay for the Zoom business or whatever it is. I have a lot of fun with it. The audience has a lot of fun. I don't know. I wish I could do them every week, but my assistant says no. She says we have other stuff to do.
Do you have them use like the raise your hand function in Zoom to get
Yep.
in line?
Yeah. So they just get in line that way, and I just go down the list. I do find that's one of my strengths is, being able to understand quickly and how quickly. And I do always say, like, if I didn't answer your question fully, like if I feel like we need to go deeper, but I don't have time, I will tell people, please email me and remind me of your question. And then I usually follow up with like a loom.com video.
Yeah. Do you ever run out of time to where people wanted to ask questions, but there were so many people there wasn't time for it?
I will never end the call if someone still has a question.
Okay. So I started to ask you about tools. You mentioned WordPress and the Lifter LMS plugin. You mentioned, Facebook group. What other tools? What are you using for your actual email marketing?
I use a Kit, formerly known as ConvertKit. I've used that since my blogging days. I've never used anything else. Yep, I got a WordPress site. I use, Google for, my mail and everything. I use Thrivecart to sell the membership. It's a one-time fee. I'm really quite tech, I would say agnostic. I don't really care what you use. If it works for your brain and your budget, that's what you should use.
What would you say are the most you mentioned it's kind of more beginners in your membership. That's who you like to help. What would you say some of the most common questions you get on these Q&As?
Yeah. So, Liz, I haven't emailed my list in 6 months. What should I do? And to that, I say, you know, what does your welcome sequence look like? Probably send that back out to them to reacquaint yourself. Also, Liz, how do I build my list? People, I'm emailing, but my list isn't building. And so inside the membership, I have an entire list building mini course that I can direct people to after I give them a little bit of personal advice. I would say those are probably the top two. And then maybe, as they get going, it's like, okay, but how can I make money from this? So we talk about, and that's something that I'm adding to the membership, talk about little ways to start selling in your list that don't involve a launch, right? Things like a super signature, PS, when you're ready, here's how we can work together. Soft pitching, how to turn every template into a sales template, right? So, every single week I send you a weekly newsletter and it comes with a video walkthrough. And in that video walkthrough, I say, hey, do you want to make some sales? Here's the template, but here's how to add, a pitch to it.
What types of customers do you have? Is it a lot of course creators or is it just all kinds of different businesses?
It's so many different people, but it's a lot of course creators, membership site owners, online service providers. But in kind of like Jacques said, he likes to talk to a lot of different people. It's that, I've got the RV blogger. Y'all, I've got a nun in my membership that sells children's books and all the proceeds go to her monastery, right? And their efforts. I've got a rabbi in there. I've got uh, crochet bloggers, right? A lot of crafters in there. I've got e-commerce people that own Etsy shops, lots of different people. And again, I think it comes from that education background. I can do something other people can't. I have an education background, so I know how to talk to lots of different people. And I started in that B2C RV travel content creator life. So I understand that it's very different. The way you talk to an audience when you're building that sort of online community is different than, me talking to my email folks or, Jacques talking to you about online course creation.
Let's say you mentioned an example of crocheting. Let's say that I'm a avid crocheter and I'm a complete beginner with online business, but I do want to put my content out there. I want to monetize it somehow with like a course or a membership. What would be the official Liz Wilcox recommendation? Like branching out beyond email marketing, like how should I get started with my business?
Well, he said branch out from email, but I would recommend anything the first step is to start your email list.
Well, I'm
So
not
my brain,
to clarify, I'm not saying, like, let's not include email. I'm saying, like, what else besides email? Certainly, that can be part of it.
um, honestly, I don't know why anyone would do anything else. Everything that I do and everything that I teach is to build an email list. So we've already talked about like other people's platforms. I would recommend starting to network first. And the whole point would be to get people on your email list, right? Whether you wanted to, create a little book with some people or an event, or, you just wanted to, you're starting your YouTube channel, I'm starting mine, let's cross pollinate. But it's all for the benefit of growing that list, because that really is the only channel as a business owner that you own. So, maybe you want to grow on Instagram or TikTok, but guess what? You don't own those platforms. So I really recommend, when you're starting, everything should be for the sake of the email list, because that's where your real audience is. Raise your hand if you were alive in 2022 and 2023 and you remember a billionaire buying a social media platform. Now it has a different name, a different look. It's lost all of its advertising dollars and half of its users. So I really struggle to recommend what else should you be doing, because it should all be to grow the email list, because it's really the only platform that you can own as a business owner.
Question for you, Liz, is going to be extremely selfish.
Okay.
What's like your number one tip or recommendation for our RV trip in the spring?
Be like Jello, my man. And this is the same with email and business, right? You can't predict the future. Be very firm on your vision. This is what I want my trip to look like. These are the things, this is the vibe, so to speak, but be really flexible on the details. Your rig is going to break. I don't care if you bought it brand new and you have a 3-year warranty and the dealer promised you XYZ. It's not going to go like that, probably. Maybe you made a reservation and suddenly they lost the reservation. So be really firm on what you want the trip to be, but incredibly flexible on how you get there.
Amazing. Thank you for that advice. Liz, where should people go to learn more? Call to action time. What you got for us?
Yeah, of course, I'm an email marketer. I'd love for you to join my list. You can go directly to lizwilcox.com. In the top right-hand corner, you can't miss it. There's a hot pink button. We talked about a lot today, but this is going to get you started with email marketing. It's going to give you a welcome sequence already written for you. So as you grow your list, you're welcoming them in a proper way. It's going to give you 3 newsletter samples from that $9 a month membership we talked about. One to show you how to get people clicking, another how to get people to reply, and a third, how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, I know writing from scratch totally sucks. You're going to get 52 subject lines for a year full of prompts. That's all for free. LizWilcox.com, hot pink button.
Love it. LizWilcox.com. Click the hot pink button. Liz, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's a wrap on today's episode, everyone. I hope you found these insights valuable. Liz's approach shows you that you don't need an elaborate setup to make big impact with your audience. And I just love her example of a super, super low ticket membership resulting in massive amounts of revenue and profit. Liz's approach is not the only way, certainly, but it is a way you could go about doing this. Just make sure the math is going to work for you and your business and your audience. Sometimes keeping it simple can be the most effective way to build a thriving business. If you want to check out any of the resources we mentioned, check out the show notes at oc.show/256. And don't forget, if you're looking to take your online course business to the next level, check out my free workshop at oc.show/workshop. Thanks for tuning in. As always, don't forget to take action on what you heard today. I'm rooting for you.